My thoughts about this film are gonna be controversial as fuck, but I want to share my honest opinion with you guys. These are just my opinions. If you disagree with them, that is alright. Everyone should have its own opinion. So, what is this movie about? It's about Matt Damon fighting his way once again to get back home. Except this time, he went to war, had a little adventure, did some side quests, pissed off a couple of gods, as we all do, lost a couple of men, and then went back home, only to find that his kingdom is kind of falling apart. Let us start off with the positives. In this film, when things are working good, they're great. But when things are bad, they ruin the experience, at least in my opinion. Matt Damon, Homeboy, he was a perfect casting choice in this film. I liked his performance and I liked his story in this film. Anne Hathaway, I think it's no surprise that she was amazing in this film, and holy shit can she act. Also, surprisingly, John Bernthal was great in this film. He just fit the story well and this universe. Overall, everyone's acting was as good as you would expect from a movie of this size. The pacing of this film was overall good. I think Nolan never really had a problem with pacing in his movies. However, the way the story sometimes progresses was a bit too linear and a bit too simplistic. Now, I don't want to say I wanted the story to be more complex or that I wanted some fucking time jumps. It's just that it sometimes felt, or at least the writing of this film was, it just felt like we were going from point A to point B to finally arrive to point C. But I still don't regret the journey, unlike his soldiers. It's a much easier film to consume than I thought it would be. I would even say sometimes the movie goes a bit too far away from Greek mythology, and I had a feeling it focused more on cool monsters and cool action scenes just so the story was a bit more engaging for a wider audience. And that is when we come to the negatives. I really wanted to enjoy this movie to its fullest. However, we cannot get everything we want in life. Just ask my grandpa, he lost one of his balls, but he was still a good golf player. This film, at least in my opinion, failed to feel like a Greek mythology epic. You watch this film and you're constantly telling yourself, this is a Greek mythology, this is based on Greek history in a ways, but you just lose that focus when you see that right hand of Odysseus is a fucking Indian dude, and one of his soldiers who is always in the front line is a Korean guy, and every once in a while, out of nowhere, Athena shows up, who is just fucking Zendaya. And I really had no problem with anyone in this film. If these people were cast in any other movie, I would literally have zero problems with that. But it just took away from the immersion of what this epic could have been. It just felt a little too modern, in my opinion. Hell, even the costumes that they're wearing, or in some scenes, some extras or whatever, it just looked a bit ridiculous, in my opinion. This movie tries to cater to the widest population imaginable. And when I say tries, I really mean tries fucking everything to please everyone. And in that process, I think it loses some of its soul. It just felt like a modern retelling, a Hollywood retelling of something that was inspired by Greek mythology, but it was set in New Jersey. One huge problem I had with this film, and this is not the first time that I had this problem with one of Nolan's films, is that the audio is shit. You cannot hear when people are talking. It's not always like that, but it it bothers you. It will bother you. Like that is for sure. I'm almost convinced his next movie is probably going to be an ASMR film. The visuals in this movie are surprisingly mediocre for a Nolan film. I cannot believe I'm saying this, but I think Oppenheimer had better visuals than this film. In fact, I think Oppenheimer has more memorable scenes than this film. This film has a lot of cool moments, maybe even memorable moments, but that is just not enough to stand the test of time, in my opinion. I would even go as far as to say that this whole film will not stand the test of time of being remembered as one of the classics of epic movies. I just don't think it will reach that level, at least not in my opinion. It has enough for me to say it was a good film, but not enough to be as impactful as it could have been. When it comes to the casting in this film, and as I said before, I really have no problem with anyone in this film. If I can wear a fucking bandana in front of a camera, then anyone can be in a film. But some people were terribly miscasted, in my opinion. Number one being Zendaya. She cannot give or present Athena vibe to save her fucking life. Tom Holland was okay for the most part, but even if he was changed, nothing would feel lost. Also worth noting, some moments in this film definitely felt a bit too predictable, and you didn't feel like you were rewarded after watching it, especially because this is a 3-hour film and it's not a pacing issue, it's just that it wasn't written as good as you would think it would be. I'm also not a fan of the fighting scenes in this film. I think no one really has a problem directing fighting scenes in general, and this movie was not an improvement. Overall, this movie is going to divide some people. However, I stand firmly that this is a good film. However, it tries way too hard to please everyone, and it just loses some of its identity along the way. The biggest problem of this film is not that it is bad, it's just that it reminded me that there are similar movies to this one that would give me personally, a better immersion than this film does. But still, this movie definitely goes into the direction of pleasing everyone, so I really don't think anyone will come out disliking this film. So is it worth the ticket price? I would say yes, it's worth seeing it on the big screens. However, just don't get your hopes up. This is not, in my opinion, one of Nolan's best works, story-wise or visually speaking. Ladies and gentlemen, make sure to subscribe for more amazing content, like this video for more, and make sure to follow me on Letterboxd to see everything that I watch. And yeah, that's about it. Take care. I'll see you in the next one.